Well, when it comes to success, I think it's a fact that in our project, where we have now visited every country improved.
If you want to stay number one, you have really to improve every day. And you have to challenge the organization. In a big organization like Siemens, making change is a necessity every day. How can we substitute people doing steps, manual steps every day, wasting their time, towards having fully digitized processes? I want to have this fully digitized. And this is where a company like Siemens has to move towards. And this is what the spirit of T and the team has really achieved in a tremendous manner by providing transparency, but also empowering the organization to understand how can I digitize my process, supporting the organization.
All the countries have improved because they were starting to do something on their processes.
I think that the general mindset has changed quite a lot all over Siemens. This is probably the biggest success for our small team.
Within the last 16 months, I visited 30 countries and automated more than 7 million manual activities. And all of that with just a team of 3 people.
I think the reactions in the first country workshops were probably the same reactions I would have had, which is like, oh my God, another project from the headquarters, driven globally.
The workshop we are going to is in Atlanta, and yes, I'm quite excited, but also, to be honest, a little bit frightened.
Improving the internal processes was always done in every country and region, but they didn't even have a way of showing it. And if smaller projects have already, let's call it, failed even before, why would I be able to drive this kind of activity or program to be successful? The people were really interested in what we wanted to achieve. I think there was a lot of agreement in the general direction of what we need to do, but I think there was really a disagreement at many points on how we are going to do these things. We need to reassess the how, and probably we need to start with the setup of the project team.
Franzi and I received a call from T, and he was proposing us a job. First it sounded a bit overwhelming, but then we couldn't say no to this challenge. But despite of the many working hours, we never lost the spirit and the belief in this project.
The recipe for success for process mining in a complex organization like Siemens is to find the right people.
We took 2 colleagues, Franzi and Ines, from a regional company who were basically really doing the work in the trenches with the customers for many, many years.
I had to do all the reporting stuff, all these Excel sheets, all the KPIs in my position as an order manager. And I experienced that this is a lot of work and also manual work, and I was already annoyed of that in my role as an order manager, and I was always thinking, how can we automate this?
One of the biggest challenges which we really have at Siemens is complexity, to understand in these processes, how do they work and how do we digitize these processes.
It was very great that at that time we were starting with a process mining activity so that we had the transparency to actually really speak a common language.
We have maybe found a very cool new thing.
We combined process mining technology with human collaboration
to make visible what process performance means. Franzi, in particular, she really introduced us to what we call the digital fit rate, and that might be really a thing to make global change stick.
It's just the number of manual activities divided by the number of sales items to see, okay, how many times do I touch on average each and every line item manually.
So let's talk about the details on how we're going to distribute and communicate this. But yeah, you really did it.
So I talked to T and Ines and said, I have there something, could you please check if this makes sense for you? And then they told me, yeah, that makes sense, and I think that's a good way to measure the process.
The KPI that Franzi found received the name Digital Fit Rate.
This KPI was actually able to make things of the past, a language which was there for more than 10 years, obsolete in one day. We really knew that we had to have a structured plan on how to orchestrate that new message into the organization. Then we went into the official communication on a global level.
We went out to the countries and talked with them about this KPI, what they are thinking about it, if they are okay with that.
The actual steps were that we went through every single process that we had, and from there we could identify different gaps in our processes.
We had skeptics saying this can't be right.
What do you want with one KPI? How do you want to digitalize my process? I've done it this way all the time.
And then in this kind of dialogue, then the people would accept the problems as their own, as a challenge, and then propose solutions by themselves.
It actually created some sort of competition between the best countries because you always wanted to be number one. I would say what it improved most for us was actually the control of it. So that you can always see that, hey, we are in line or we're actually improving so that the digital fit rate is not, going the wrong way.
And this is where really the spirit of T and his team is amazing. Since they go there against all odds and they say, look, give me a chance, I will show you transparency, I will show you best practice, and then we talk again. But let me challenge you and let me support you with really improving your process.
We found some things, or we could confirm things that we suspected actually, where we maybe had a gap in our processes and we could close some of them rather quickly.
We have traveled to 27 countries in 1 year. We were able to not only define and implement, but also create the new language that the digital fit rate is the one and only KPI which matters.
We also have cases where a solution from Russia is copied to Singapore, for example, and without our project they would have never talked to each other.
We have really automated internal processes to 100%.
And that makes me really happy because I know how it is to create this Excel reports.
We really didn't have any doubts this time because we could see the benefit from this whole project.
If you are changing something and they are coming back to you and say, thank you, I'm waiting since years for this kind of change, this gives a lot of good feelings to go also through these hard times.
T and his team, they're great since now I'm a part of their team.